How exciting is it to be starting this new journey, this new season of life when your firstborn, your oldest, is starting school? It has to be just so exciting, but also a little scary and maybe a little bit, just a little bit of a relief knowing that they're finally starting school and you're on to this new chapter. But being your first, there are so many new things. Everything is brand new. The schedules, the routines, the things that you need to do, and the things you don't do. And how do you manage all of these things that are going on? Well, I want to talk to you about 3 things that I've learned with my oldest going back to school. Hey mama, are you struggling with how to make time for yourself as a work-at-home mom? Are you drowning in laundry and dishes, poopy diapers, and kids who are constantly screaming, Mom, even though they're 5 feet away from you? I get it. I'm Jessa Ray, and this is Caught Up in Motherhood, where I want to help you set priorities, create boundaries, ask for help, and learn to love yourself in motherhood again. You can show up for you without sacrificing motherhood and without the guilt. So if you're ready to be caught up in motherhood, then go grab a fresh cup of coffee and that laundry basket sitting in the corner. Don't worry, I've got mine too. And listen in to today's episode. How crazy is it to think that your first child, your oldest, is going to school? Like, just the thought of it alone is a little overwhelming. Like, you're just thinking about it. Like, you need to go school supply shopping. You need to get them ready for school. There's things that you need to do that you didn't even think about doing, like how they introduce themselves to other kids. Can they say their last name yet? Do they know their address? What about your phone number? Can they open the string cheese on their own? Or do you need to do something else for snack time? And what about that backpack? Is that backpack really going to be that heavy or that big? And all the things, right, that are going through your head as mom that you're trying to think about in preparation for school. Because it's been a while, right, since you've been in school and since you've had to do this. And now you're doing it with your kids and it's a whole new game, right? The amount of technology that's in the classroom, the amount of changes just in the last few years is crazy to think about. But how do we prepare? How do we get ourselves ready physically, mentally, and our kids ready for this transition into something new? And with that, this new routine, this new schedule that we have going on. And I want to talk about a little bit about my son, my oldest. So he is 4. And we attempted to do 3K last year. So we decided to do this half-day 3K program at a private school. And one of the requirements was that you had to be potty trained, right? And he was just about there, right? We were doing really good. I think we were just having a couple issues with number 2 every now and again, but we were just right there. And I had brought this up to the teacher, just letting her know, like, hey, we're excited for him to start. We thought we'd be farther along in this process. We're having a couple of hiccups. Want to make sure that this is going to be okay. You know, if not a big deal. We'll keep him home. Like, I work from home, I'm out of the house. We were doing this for the socialization, the structure, the schedule, for him to make friends, right? So this wasn't oh my God, he has to go to school. There was none of that, right? This was just for him. Like, we thought that this would benefit him to go to school. So I reached out and told her all this and was told, it's fine. He can just wear a pull-up. Okay, thought that was fine. We hadn't done pull-ups before, except for at nighttime, of course, but decided to give it a go. Well, that was just the first thing that went wrong for his starting of 3K. And it kind of just grew over his time in the program. And he was in for about half the year. I think I pulled him around his 4th birthday, shortly after that. I think, yes. Yeah, I think I pulled him shortly after his birthday. So he went from like, September to the new year, sometime in January, February, that time period. And what we learned was that he wasn't ready. As much as we wanted to socialize, to help him make friends, to give him structure, to give him a new schedule, to do these things, he wasn't ready. And he needed more time at home, more time to work on some things that I needed to do with him, and that his dad needed to do with him, and that his grandparents and other family members could do with him at home in a safer, more structured, more inviting environment than that of a school system. Because, right, we can't send our kids to school for them to be babysat or for them to learn some life lessons, right? They're there to learn other things, but teaching him how to use the bathroom that was just one physical thing, but that was whatever, realistically. I mean, it was a pain, absolutely. I mean, every time we had a break, I would re-potty train him and he would be great and find everything was just great. And then he'd go back to school and he'd regress every freaking time. And those were those warning bells that he didn't need to be in 3K that a part of me was ignoring, because I'm like, no, he needs the structure, he needs the socialization, he needs these other things. And I kept pushing and pushing, saying he needs these things, when he didn't. He needed to be home instead. And I've learned a lot in the last year in relation to school and in relation to our needs as kids and our needs as parents, and what's, I don't want to say right, but what is the best fit for our kids. And I have nothing against public schools. I mean, we're enrolled in 4K at our public school here instead of the private for this coming fall, and we're giving it another go here for him. And we've done a lot of things over the last couple months here, right? He is now completely potty trained, which is, oh my god, amazing. And we've worked on other things like his speech. Hi, my name's Leroy. It is so stinking cute because he says that to everybody he meets now. Because we told him, like, hey, when you meet someone new, you got to tell them your name, and then you have to ask them if they want to play or whatever other interaction, dialogue he wants to have. And we do different practice things with that. We taught him how to say his name and how to say, hi, my name's. And he does it all the time. And now he does it. It's so cute in the grocery store or wherever we're going. But it was taking that time to think about the other things that we could do to help him to be successful this coming fall. And not just thinking about the things that we believe the school system can give him when we could give him that at home. It wasn't necessarily as easy to do it at home, but it was in a lot of ways more beneficial because we got to be involved in those pieces. Now, this year, we were trying a new school. Like I said, we're going to public school instead of private, and he's in 4K instead of 3K, right? So another year older. And it's still half days, which I think is good, but it's 4 days a week instead of 5, which I was not aware of until a couple days ago, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. And he is so stinking excited. So excited. Like, even for 3K, he was so excited. He was nervous, of course, those first couple of days, but he was more excited than he was nervous. He was so excited to go, running up, always just so happy to be there and excited and ready to play and meet his friends and talk to them and learn something new and just the whole experience. He loves the idea of school. So telling him that he was going back to school here in the fall re-amped up that excitement, as he is just like ready to go and keeps asking me, am I going to school yet? Am I going to school? Are we going to go to school now? Couple more weeks. We're almost there. But in getting ready for school, in doing this for now the second time, and I can say I'm a little bit more anxious, a little bit more worried about it than I was the first time. because the first time wasn't necessarily an ideal thing, and we did end up pulling him, and that was my choice to do that. Not to say that there's anything wrong with, staying home or going to school. Like, personal choices all around. And we decided to give it another go with public this time around. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, I'm not afraid to pull him back out. And I told my husband that if I'm not comfortable with it, if he's not comfortable with it, he's not by state law required to go to school until first grade, that I will just pull him. And then we can have the discussion on what we're going to do from there. But my whole point is not to take it lightly, right? If you're going to pull your kid out of 4K or 3K or 5K and whatever K that they're in, but to be a little bit better prepared for it in what we do. And some things that I've done and some things that I've learned is in relation to routines and setting boundaries. And this comes into play in relation to your personal and your work life. Now, for me, and for probably most of you here listening, it's that balancing that entrepreneur, that work from home aspect of it and setting those boundaries. And one of the things that I did is my calendar update. I put in there a block of time for every day in the morning for, breakfast time, morning time, routine, getting ready to go to school, actually going to school, and then getting the other kids back home from school and getting them situated. My kids nap in the morning, so getting them home from dropping off our oldest to then getting them to nap. So I have a block of time on my calendar blocked off every single day for that. And then same thing for lunchtime. I have a block of time for actually lunch and pick up and the time around that for my son as well. So that way I have these clear boundaries on my calendar for clients and people booking calls with me, but also that reminder to me of, no, this is a hard boundary. I am not scheduling calls or things during this period of time. It's important to me that I have meals with my kids at the table. It's important to me that I'm able to pick them up and drop them off from school and not being late or running around 20 different times trying to do 20 different things when I need to be concentrating on being mom. Even if it's just for an hour, concentrating on that and being fully present in that moment and setting that expectation of I am unavailable. Hey there, Incredible Mamas, Jessa here, and I've got something super exciting to share with you. Are you ready to take a journey of self-discovery while embracing your role as mom? If your answer is a big yes, then listen up. I'm introducing my brand new freebie guide, Reclaiming Your Identity, a 7-day mom's guide to self-discovery. Now, this isn't just a guide. It's your passport to rediscovering the incredible woman that you are, both inside and outside of motherhood. Now, I'm talking about uncovering those passions, dreams, and unique qualities that make you, you. It's time to nurture yourself, boost your self-awareness, and step into your full potential. Picture this. Each day, you'll dive into thought-provoking prompts, self-reflection, and even a sprinkle of wisdom from some past podcast episodes. And with this, it'll be a week-long journey of embracing every facet of your identity, from being an amazing mom to being the exceptional you that you are. So whether you are a new mom, seasoned pro, or somewhere in between, this guide is tailor-made for you. Let's break those boundaries, shatter those doubts, and regain your joy outside of your mom role. So if you're ready to embark on this empowering adventure, just click the link in the show notes or visit my website to grab your Reclaiming Your Identity guide today. Let's reclaim you, mama. Remember, you're more than just a mom. You're a force of nature. Let's embrace this journey together. Until next time, keep shining and never forget, you've got this, mama. And that took some effort, a lot on myself to be able to hold myself accountable to not breaking my own rules in relation to those boundaries and setting that. Now, in relation to personal boundaries, it's practicing a bit of self-care and teaching your kids to have those boundaries and those set rules and routine in place, right? Getting ready the night before, getting ready the morning of, what are the things that they need to be doing, and having a consistent routine. Now, this does take time to figure out, and if you have the ability to practice a week or two beforehand, go for it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting in the car and you're leaving and driving to the school and doing the whole circle the block thing, but the morning routine of get up at this time, do breakfast at this time, get dressed, brush your teeth, all those steps. What does that look like? How difficult is that? And having other kids that are younger, knowing that it's going to be more difficult on different days and less difficult on others, and right? You can't be that predictable with all of it, but to plan around it and have things ready to go and have some kind of routine and expectation so that your kids know this is what's coming next. And a lot of times our kids might not necessarily understand the time piece of it, but they understand the repetitiveness of the task. The routine in relation to I do step A, B, then C, and then D. And they understand those steps that way. We understand the time piece, and we can teach them that later. But having those routines and having those boundaries in place to have a more productive day, less stress, because you're not worried about things coming up on the calendar or things going on throughout the day that are going to interfere with that balance of working and mom and everything else that you have going on. And then there's also that prep time, right? It's including that prep time and including your kids in that, right? Keeping that excitement alive of, okay, we got to get ready for school. Let's pull out your backpack. Let's pick out your clothes for tomorrow. And, oh, let's look on mommy's phone. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? And, oh, look, it's going to be sunny and it says it's going to be nice and warm. And maybe we should wear something like this or this, and giving them those options and helping them pick out their clothes and get ready. So that way the next day, if they're able to, right, they can get up in the morning, do their morning routine, go to the bathroom, whatever it is, and get themselves dressed right away. They've already picked out their clothes with you. They know what they're going to wear. Maybe it alleviates one less fight or battle or issue in the morning that their clothes are picked out and ready to go. And if you have younger kids, you can do the same thing with them. Let them pick out their clothes for the next day if they're able to comprehend that. If not, you can still pull their clothes out and have it ready to go and sitting on the changing table or whatever. So that way it's one less thing for you to need to think about in the morning, especially if mornings are chaotic and hectic and you're trying to run out the door. And let your kid participate. The other things that you can do ahead is obviously get the backpack ready, get the snacks ready if they're bringing a snack. If they're going for the full day of kindergarten, do you need to bring a lunch and what's that going to look like? And then also practice that. My son has been packing his lunchbox every day this week with different snacks and treats and things. Now, he doesn't need a lunchbox because he's only going for half of the day, so he'll be home for lunch, but he does get a snack time. And his backpack that he picked out came with a lunchbox, so I'm letting him play with the lunchbox. And we're working on opening up the string cheese, opening up the different foods, and how to maneuver that on his own. And doing it at home allows him to take that time that he needs to do it and lets me work with him on that skill so he can get those things open and figure out how to do it. Because when they go to school, they only have so much time to open their snack and eat it. And the teacher can help them open it. Sure, absolutely. But they're one kid of how many? Right? We can't just rely on the teacher to help them open up that snack. We need to help teach them or give them different containers that they can open. And last year when he was 3, I bought these fun little containers that he could open, and I would put his snacks in there. So I took it out of the packaging and put it in there because he was having a hard time with some of the packages that he couldn't do it. So we just put it in a different container that I knew that he could open, and that just made it a little bit easier, hopefully a little bit easier on the teacher as well. The other part is the emotional support. Right? We want to embody excitement. We want to show our positive emotions to our kid and show them how excited we are. And, oh, I can't wait for this. And you're gonna have so much fun. You're gonna meet all these people, and acknowledging if they're a little bit scared or timid about going to school, and acknowledging that and telling them that it's okay, that those feelings are normal and it's all right. And mommy gets scared too sometimes. And what mommy does when she's scared is she takes a deep breath. And then she tells herself that she can do it, and she gives herself that support. Or if she needs help, she asks daddy for help, or grandma, or whoever. And just teaching them to ask for help right away at a young age, and encouraging that, and encouraging them to acknowledge that they might be scared or a little fearful, and helping work through that, and encouraging them to see the positive and saying, okay, well, what are you nervous about? And getting them to tell you what it is that they might be scared or nervous about. Maybe they're worried about leaving their siblings at home, and tell them that their siblings are going to be okay, and having that conversation. Maybe they're worried about leaving you because they've been with you, their whole life. And maybe this is the first time they're going to be separated for a period of time, really. You got to work through those things and talk it out, and get them prepared, and talk about the positive things, and tell them, okay, this is your teacher's name, and we're going to go meet them at open house, and you're going to go see your classroom, and we're going to see all the things that are in there. And then when you get there, be like, wow, look at this, and look, here's your name, and here's this, and just the excitement, get them excited. Showing them that those emotions and that emotional support, and being with them, and helping them through any negative emotions that they could be having, and remembering that those negative emotions could in some ways be coming from you. And that's something that I know I have to work on too, especially my fear around him going to school in general right now, because we didn't have the best experience last year, and I want this experience to be good, and I'm worried that it won't be. I'm worried that there's going to be issues because of his speech, and he is in speech classes right now, but I'm worried about what that means for him in school, because he does get frustrated with his speech sometimes, and we've worked with ways to get through it. When he tries to say something and the other person doesn't understand it, he's developed really good ways of showing the person and problem solving his way around not being able to say something in a way that the other person understands it. And like I said, he's doing speech classes right now, but I don't know what that means in relation to him at school. And who knows? He could be completely fine. It could be a problem. I'm not going to know until we start. But being optimistic and knowing that we have things in place and plans going to help alleviate that stress, and the fact that he knows how to problem solve around these things makes it a little bit more comfortable for me, knowing that he's going to be okay. Knowing that it's going to be fine. And knowing that even with the issues that we had last year, how excited he was to go and happy about it, right? The friends he made, the things that he got to do, and how much he really, really enjoyed it. So I'm very optimistic that it'll be fine. And I think my biggest fear is that he's going to love it so much and then have an issue. And that issue is going to be such a bad or big issue that I have to pull him out. Or we have to go to a different school. And I have to tell him that it wasn't his fault, because it's not. But I think that's my biggest fear. Of having to remove him from school, even though I know that he loves it. Even though I know that he enjoys the environment and the people and whatever else could be going on. By knowing that what's best for him is maybe not being there in the moment. And those are definitely some fears from last year. For sure. But this is going to be a new year, right? Trying to stay positive and seeing the upside. He is so freaking excited, and we're going to be excited. We're doing all the prep work that we can do and doing everything that we can to feel better about it. We have the books, right? The getting ready for kindergarten books, and he likes to read them, and doing the different things that we do when we talk about following directions and activities and communication and all of the things that I can think of in relation to going to school. But my biggest takeaways from attempting 3K and in pulling him, I don't want to say failing, but removing him from the environment to then work on things at home to start over here in 4K now is a lot, right? It's that routine, it's those boundaries, it's preparing ahead of time, including your kids in that, and the emotional piece. The emotional piece for myself as mom, and the emotional piece for him going to school. And acknowledging where I am and where I stand emotionally and with all of this and where he stands. Knowing that his feelings are valid and important in what he's feeling and hearing him, as well as hearing my own fears and acknowledging them and working through those just as strongly as we work through his fears. Now, I don't mean for this to be a negative kind of podcast episode or in any way. I just wanted to give some transparency on some things that we've gone through in the past in relation to going to school and how even though it was a rough start, our first attempt, I'm optimistic that it'll get better. I am optimistic and positive that it'll be a better year this year. We're more prepared. We've done more research and done more things at home for it to be successful. And I think a part of me, in the back of my head, knows that I work from home. And if I really, really need to, I will homeschool. My husband doesn't like that answer because he thinks I have too much on my plate, but I don't care. It's like my little security blanket in the background of, if it doesn't work, I will just homeschool him and we will reevaluate when he's getting ready for first grade. Because for my state, that's the required time that you start school is first grade. So that's when I would reevaluate if he goes back. If I decide to homeschool or not. But my whole point is that there is no right path. There is no wrong path. You can do whatever feels right for you and your family and your kids. And if that is trying school and pulling them, or trying school and absolutely loving it, and it's an amazing experience, and they stay in that school system for the rest of their schooling years, then that's amazing. Or if you decide to pull them and they're going to be homeschooled, that is also freaking amazing. There is no one path, right? There are hundreds of different paths and things that you can do. So remember that there is no right, there is no wrong. There's only the best that you can do, and only what's right for you and your kids and for your family. Because what's right for you isn't necessarily going to be right for me. And what's right for me is not going to be what's right for you. But maybe having this conversation will give you some more food for thought and help you accept whatever you decide you need to do or want to do when it comes to going to school for the first time. And I hope and I pray that your first day of school with your oldest, with your little, is magical. That they are happy and excited, and even if they're nervous, that they show their courage and their strength because they get it from you, Mama. And they go through those doors and they are just happy. And things go well and they enjoy it. And when you go to pick them up later in the day, they have amazing stories to tell you because they had a great day. And I hope that we all get to have that experience of, this was a great day, and this was worth it, and this was a great new beginning to a new season of life for all of us. All right, Mama. Don't forget, you got this. Hey Mama, thanks for hanging out with me today. I know you have a lot going on, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I hope this episode gives you new energy to tackle today. If so, could you leave a review and subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode? That would mean the world to me. I'd also love to connect with you on Instagram, so send me a DM and let me know if this episode was helpful. I love hearing from you. Remember, Mama, you got this. Until next time, I'm Jessa Ray, and this is Caught Up in Motherhood.